Welcome to the Respected Podcast. So to get us started, we're here with Gianna, or G.
Yeah, I go by G.
Okay, nice to meet you, G.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah.
Today we talk about
The general theme of mental health and how it can play into so many different aspects of your life. Childhood trauma, relationships, even friendships, family, that kind of stuff.
So if you're a first-time viewer, the Perspective Podcast is just about human experiences to help strengthen you, let you know that you got this, whatever it is. You're not alone. You know, people go through stuff. So, G, thank you so much for coming on the show and being willing to tell your story. That's like amazing, honestly.
Of course.
And I want to know about that story. So let's dive in, kind of say like, what do you think has been some situations that's impacted you, shaped you, and like kind of give you some strength and made you who you are essentially?
Definitely like mental health related. I've gone through mental health stuff since I was a teenager, but specifically this year, actually, I went through something pretty dark, and it's definitely shaped me into a different person. It's definitely encouraged me to move differently. I feel like I got stuck almost in that dark period where I felt like I wasn't going to come out of it. I wasn't going to be able to do the things I want to do. I kind of put my dreams on pause. I was just in a really dark time. And then after coming out of it, after kind of receiving the help that I needed, I feel like I honestly am a whole new person. I have a whole new perspective on how to go about things, how to navigate difficult times, and just looking on the brighter side of things.
Wow, that's amazing. So first of all, I want to say kudos to you for a year. You know what I mean? That's not long ago. You know what I mean? And you seem like you've kind of gotten out of it. Seems like, you're willing to talk about it. Seems like you got over it kind of quickly for some, you know what I mean? Sometimes people linger on for like 3-5 years, even more, their whole lifetime based off of a dark situation. So that's awesome. That's a really quick, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you mind telling us a little bit about what that dark period was?
Yeah. So it was actually like I've gone through a lot of dark stuff in my life. I've had family issues and I was bullied when I was younger, a lot of stuff. And then the catalyst of it all was kind of this breakup I went through this year. I thought that I found the person of my dreams, and then it ended up not being that. And it was kind of like a earth-shattering moment for me, because I was like, I've had so many traumas, and I was like, why would something so good come into my life and then just kind of evaporate? And I think that's what put me down so bad. And I, like I said, I've had mental health issues since I was a child, but I feel like they came up a lot more through this specific event. I had to receive like outpatient help, and I had to go on medication and all of that.
For this breakup?
Yeah, so it wasn't specific to the breakup. Like I said, the breakup was like a catalyst moment for me. And it kind of just brought out all the stuff that was underneath, all the trauma that I kind of wasn't dealing with or owning up to. And like I said, it put me...
What did it bring out? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. To get specific, I would say I was like bedbound for weeks, not showering, not eating, really not doing anything, like not functioning. It kind of brought out like all of my trauma, because like I said, I've gone through stuff since I was maybe like 10, 11, and it was all untouched stuff that I didn't deal with. So I feel like all of that was under the surface kind of came up, and it put me really, really low. Like I said, I was not eating, I wasn't showering, I was bedbound, and it made me realize how important mental health is and how important it is to deal with your mental health, which is something that I avoided for a very long time.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay.
25, yep. And so learning to deal with it has definitely been an experience, but I feel like it's brought out a better version of myself. I'm learning almost from my past.
Interesting. So do you think like was there like an empty space when you were growing up, when you were a kid, like not feeling like you were like people like pushing all the things that you did shit wrong, it was all your fault, like you felt like empty? Is that...
Yeah, I would definitely say there was a void there. Like I said, I had some family issues. I dealt with a lot of stuff on my dad's side that really put me into that mentality of I have to do it all by myself. I have to be independent. I don't have anyone's help, because when I did receive help, I was like ridiculed for it. And then, like I said, in school, I dealt with like bullying issues and people just kind of putting me down for being different. I would say I was always very, I like to use the word unique.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people weren't accepting of that. I was kind of a little bit of an outcast. So
Let's explain that. Like, how were you an outcast? What did that mean?
I definitely didn't go by the normal standard. I feel like when you're a teenager, there's a certain way people act or dress or talk or the things that they do outside of school. And I was definitely not that person. I dressed however I wanted to, even though it was strange, I guess. People would say it was strange. I don't think it was strange, but people would say it was strange.
Nice.
And I was like, again, uniquely myself. And that was very verbal, very open, very vulnerable. And I feel like a lot of people can't relate to that because they do hide, especially as a teenager, hiding like layers of themselves almost.
Interesting. So I'm like picking up a lot right now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like you mentioned like this gap, you know what I mean, from growing up. But it seemed like you were still very outspoken. You were still yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't lose yourself. You still had like strength to kind of speak up and talk and stuff like that. So it's like this duality kind of thing going
Mm-hmm.
on. What were you like trying to like? So when you're going through this, right, and then you had like this emptiness, right? Like it seemed like you were living yourself, but like obviously some things kind of caught up. So do you feel like there was any suppression of any kind during that time period?
I think I was overly independent, so I didn't want to rely on people. And I guess that could have been something suppressed within me that I didn't want to admit outright, is that I just didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want, and that came to anything and everything, which is why I was overly independent and more verbal and outspoken.
But deep down, you wanted to ask for help,
Yeah.
and then you got into a relationship, and it felt like you finally got some peace or somebody handling shit
Mm-hmm.
where you could just kind of let your guard down and not have to take everything on your own.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. I was in a lot of shitty relationships, excuse my language, prior to this one relationship I'm referring to, like just bad stuff over and over again. And so, like you said, I thought I found like a safety net, like something that was stable. And when that came crashing down, it was almost like everything crappy that I had dealt with came up again, but it was like all of it at once. It wasn't just one specific thing.
so how did you guys connect? Like, what was like, how long did the relationship, was it existing for? What made this one so different from the other ones that you had in the past?
It was actually very short lived. It was 6 months, so it wasn't anything like super major long term. But it's almost like you meet someone and they're like a reflection of you. And that's kind of how I felt. Like I didn't really have to explain myself much. I didn't have to say much for that person to understand what it was that I needed in every aspect. And they kind of just showed up authentically, which I also appreciate because I feel like a lot of people try to suppress their or don't come out with their true colors right away. They try to put on like a mask or whatever else. And this person very much so did that, but was very good at hiding it because it, like I said, it was 6 months of just feeling like I had a person that truly, truly understood every aspect of my life without me having to explain or overly explain that or be verbal about it, which is nice when you don't have to do that or go out of your way to do that, because that was something I did have to do over and over again in prior relationships, even with, like I said, family, friends, not just specific to dating. But this person showed up one day and then it was like we had instantly clicked and I felt like he changed my life. And so I didn't feel that way with any of my other relationships.
How come?
I had to show up for myself a lot of the time. I had to overly explain what it was I needed. I had to beg for the bare minimum from people. Again, this isn't just specific to the dating world, but friends, family. I always was receiving the bare minimum, I feel like, and begging to receive not even the bare minimum I wasn't receiving, but like asking to receive at least that and then not having that. It just, I feel like it does something to your persona. Like for me, like I said, it just made me super, super independent and I felt like I couldn't rely on anyone even though I wanted to rely on people.
So this person was showing you far from the bare minimum.
Yeah, far from the bare minimum.
What are some examples? Like what were they doing that was like
it was like every time I saw him, he would bring me something. He welcomed me into his family so easily. We just had a lot of the same core values, and the things that we talked about, like future wise, aligned perfectly. Like we had the same idea on children and how to educate them and marriage and just all this stuff. And I also felt like I had kind of brought out a version of him too, which is nice when you see like you can also impact someone or change someone, because he kind of was like, I didn't see any of this for myself because I hadn't met anyone that aligned with me the way that you do, and now I can see these things for myself. And it was really nice in that moment to feel like I actually connected with someone that way, where we both bringing out like better sides of each other.
This is very interesting. So in this internet space, you hear so many stories of like women saying, they don't want the bare minimum, and then, men talking about when they actually do above the bare minimum, women don't respect it, and they're just like, this is a little bit too much, and then they fall away. But it seems like this guy was doing something, you got caught up, and what was the fall off?
So he actually worked, like he was a seasonal employee, so he worked in Vermont for a couple of months. So we were long distance because I'm here in Connecticut. Um, and it was really random and abrupt. I kind of didn't see it coming. It was just like a breakup over the phone, and that was it. And then I had received a call from one of his coworkers basically explaining everything that he was doing there, cheating on me, doing like hardcore drugs, and like he is a recovered addict, so that was concerning for me to hear, obviously. Um, just really shitty things that blew my mind.
So you guys were distance. Yes.
The first 2 months we weren't, but the last 4 months we were.
Okay. And did your emotions like elevate after the 2 months, or were they like, what was it like?
It was really hard for me personally. I was like missing him like crazy. I would cry myself to sleep because I wanted to see him. And he was acting very much so the same way towards me and saying the same things. But then I came to find out, again, through a coworker, that he was telling everyone I was like this crazy ex-girlfriend that wouldn't leave him alone. And so when you kind of find out about those things, for me specifically, it was like poof, like this huge, I felt like I was bombed. Like I had no clue, no idea that that was going on. I thought I was in this relationship with this perfect person meant for me, and then catastrophically it just imploded. It was like super, like I said, I was just blinded. Like I thought that this rose-colored glasses, people say that. Totally just mind blown by the fact that he was a totally different person. Like you don't expect it, and then it happens.
Got you. Okay. This is interesting. My breakdown is like maybe had the connection. The dude was kind of a bad boy still. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
2 months in, dipped out, and then that space like coming and showing like the distance, coming through with the distance was like, and it, like showing you that it wasn't bare minimum. But that distance also probably elevated the emotions because you guys
Mm-hmm.
had to stay separated, so it's not like there was opportunity to be clingy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. So what got you over it? Like you said, it's a year ago. It's the lowest of the low.
It
What are
was
some tools you
actually
used?
it was actually this year.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's very recent.
wow.
Honestly, getting over it was a lot of spending time with the people that I love. It felt really difficult to be alone with all those thoughts. And it did take me months to get over it truly because I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that it was the truth.
Mm.
Um,
The
like
truth.
I,
What they told you he was doing.
yeah. And like I said, I was admitted to an outpatient program and I was put on different meds because, like I said, that was the catalyst for me. So I went to a deep, dark depression, which I really think the outpatient and the meds have contributed to getting me back up on my feet and helping me. But truly, like spending time with loved ones and having the people that really do support me, so friends, family,
Yeah.
around was the biggest help, and I can't thank all of them enough
Right.
for being there.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's nothing more powerful than finding a tribe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you have people in your corner who will actually like understand you to a degree, or just like there's I think that's the heal all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it.
Mhm.
It takes power to kind of find your tribe. if you don't already have it innately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So, where did you find your tribe? How did you find your tribe?
My tribe has always kind of been there. I don't want to say I didn't appreciate them enough, but I didn't see how much they could truly do for me in times of need. Because, like I said, I was always overly independent, didn't want to ask for the help.
Yeah.
This time I felt like I really needed to ask for the help because I was not able to do it on my own. And I had a couple of my best friends really be there, like checking in on me every day. These are friends that I've had since high school, or some of them are friends that I met a couple years ago, but very much so a part of my tribe, if you will. Like I said, checking in on me every day, showing up for me. My family, I actually live with my aunt and my uncle right now because this year has been quite the shit show for me. Um, so
Nothing but up, baby. Let's go.
yeah, yeah. So I'm living with my aunt and my uncle currently, and I can't thank them enough either for all of the help because they were literally there with me every single day. And mental health is not something my family specifically talks about a lot, so I was kind of scared to relay how bad it was and how much I was struggling with it. But as soon as I did open up about it, they all were super supportive. There wasn't a question. There wasn't like, oh, you're being over dramatic or you're being overly sensitive, which I think is something I kind of expected to receive. But I didn't. And they all were just super, super supportive. And I feel like if I had known how supportive they would have been years ago when I was still going through different stuff, I would have definitely opened up to them. It was just a matter of opening up to them. So now that I finally have, I realize that these people have always cared and have always been there. I just needed to open myself up to them.
Wow. So opening up was a good thing.
Yeah.
And you were nervous to do it before.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you did it, you felt like things were like not as bad as you had assumed.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you like say to somebody who's like wants to open up to their family, and because there's two sides of a coin. You know what I mean? Some people they won't, like, you had a very good positive experience of opening up with people around you. Sometimes people have that fear, and then their fear comes to reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, but for the people who are afraid to take the step to even find out, right? Because I think there's some strength in just taking that step to try. You know what I mean? Like, to know that inner strength to be like, you know what, at the end of the day, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have some inner strength to a degree and be like, yo, I'm going to let it be. But what is someone who's feeling a little bit of fear to just take that step? Like, what made you want to do it? And what would you say to them?
It sounds cliche, but I would say just do it. You never know what can happen, and what ifs go both ways. Like you said, it could be their fears coming true, but it could also be their fears being taken away because they're being reciprocated to.
Just go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. And I feel like karma is also a real thing, and I feel like if you're putting out a certain energy, if you're trying to receive the help, even if you don't get it from the person you expected or whatever,
Right.
it'll come back around and you
Right.
will eventually receive it in the way you need. It's just
Right.
about being patient, I feel like.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very strong. It's very strong. All right. Um, Forgot what my question was, but I think it had to do with like, did we? So opening up with the family, that's what helped you,
Yeah.
and like going to like the doctor,
Even my friends too. Like I said, always overly independent. So even when my friends would be like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I'd always be like, "Yeah, I'm fine," even if I wasn't fine. And my friends would get mad at me and be like, "You just need to talk to us. We're not going to judge you. We're here for you." And any of my friends will vouch for me on this. I didn't do that for years. For years and years, I was just like, "Nope, I got it. I'll take care of it. It's my mental health. I'll take care of it." So.
So I know you're probably not thinking about relationships anytime soon.
No.
Potentially, I don't know. But are there any signs, any things that you're looking for? Has anything adjusted? Are you looking for the same thing? Like, where is your headspace when it comes to opening yourself to partnership?
I've come into this mindset of I don't chase, I attract. I attract what's meant for me, and I feel like what's meant for you isn't going to pass you by. It might circle around you a couple of times, but it'll come back. It's whatever's meant for you will be. And right now, I feel like I'm not openly like, let me get into a relationship with someone right away. I'm just kind of going with the flow naturally as things come. So if something comes in and it doesn't feel like it's meant for me, oh well, I'll let it fly. Um, but if something does come in and it flows and it feels natural, I'll go with it. Just this time, I feel like what's different is I have my guard up more. Something when it comes to me is that I give my all or nothing typically. And in relationships, it would literally be like, you get everything from me and like I give you all of myself. And now I don't have that same perspective. Not that I wouldn't want to or be willing to do that with someone, but it's more so of a let's take it slow and see how you are as a person before I give my all and do the most.
Hmm. Yeah, I get you. So I have a question,
Mm-hmm.
right? What do you think is the most like the absolute best way to attract? Is it through thoughts or through actions?
I feel like a little bit of both. Um, I feel like when it comes to thoughts, that could have a lot to do with like your faith. I feel like manifesting things is really a true, genuine thing. So I feel like if you are thinking positively and trying to have this positive mindset, you will receive in that way. As far as actions go, like I said, I feel like you can give a little, get a little, maybe not give all of yourself right away. But I feel like what you do put out there, you're going to receive. So even if it is just a small part of yourself, you'll get a small part of the other person. If you were talking about partnership, small part of the other person, and then back and forth until you guys do reach that level of comfort where you feel like you can fully be
Yeah,
yourself.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. My take on it is it's like spirit,
Mm-hmm.
which I left out of there. Spirit, then the mental, then the action. You know what I mean? The mental kind of goes in with the spirit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because what you focus in on, you become, and you become like translates into your thoughts, and then your thoughts translate into your actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So with attraction, or yeah, like the attraction that you attract, I feel like there's so many components, and if you're acting one way but thinking another, so like let's say I want a good girl,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm going to the club all the time, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna find my girl over there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? No matter how hard I'm thinking, I want to find like a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but if I start like, working on myself, going to the library, focusing on like actually like the shit that I'm focused on, and not even really concerning myself with that type of shit,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is the way that I will, you know what I mean? Just locking in on ultimately my purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not even like focused on any of that shit. I'm just focused on just like locking in on my purpose. And I think faith in God goes hand in hand with my purpose. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I don't think I really care for anything else besides that. Like if I have something I want right now, but it's not what the Most High wants for me, I don't want it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
You know what I mean? So like I just let all that go and I let life happen and
Mm-hmm.
be like, yo, this is so what a ride. What a life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though there's going to be a lot of struggle and a lot of pain, but that's where another aspect of just accepting and just sitting back and letting go of control. You know what I mean? Sometimes the pain is maybe, I don't know, there's a lot to it, but maybe to want to take control is another reason why we have so much
Yeah.
that we're struggling with.
Yeah. When it comes to pain, I feel like that's all a learning experience. You're going to learn from the pain. And ultimately, if you go through something painful, I think that's the universe's way of taking something out of your life that's not meant to be there. I mean, that can go.
I'm on the other side of that.
There's a scale with that.
I feel like I remember I heard a quote, lives by pain is a lot of information coming in at once.
Okay.
So that pain is just adding, it's just like learning. It's like
Yeah.
addition by subtraction. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I don't know, maybe equal and opposite, but it's a lot of information coming in at once.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. That was really all I was. That's the only place I was going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pain is, again, when you read the Bible, it's like, it's just an opportunity for the glory of God to come and present himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing. And I don't know where your faith is. You know what I'm saying? It really, I'm just, just talking about how I see the world.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I definitely have faith. It's a little different from God. I believe in the universe and the elements and all of that, but I have the faith. I pray to the universe continuously. My spirit guides, the angels, ancestors, all of that.
Awesome. Excellent. So I'm trying to think. I feel like we covered quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. You know, maybe if there's some stuff that you want to touch up on, like the growing up aspect, we can dive into that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just so, because we're here right now and we're like just dishing shit out. So if you want to like release that,
Okay.
I'm here.
In terms of growing up, I mean, your mind is super impressionable when you're a child, and the way that you grow up will really impact the way that you are as an adult.
Mm.
For me specifically, I grew up in a lot of chaos. There was a lot of stuff happening that shouldn't have happened. There's a lot of stuff I was seeing that I shouldn't have seen. Um, and ultimately, I always tell people that I'm kind of thankful for my trauma, which goes hand in hand with like the pain being something you can learn from,
Mm-hmm.
because it did shape me into the adult that I am. And I feel like I'm a pretty cool adult.
Hey.
And I am more mature than the average person my age, and I don't say that in an egotistical way at all. I've just learned so much from childhood trauma, and I'm like, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that person when I'm an adult. I don't want to let people down in the ways that I was let down. So yeah, I feel like it has shaped me into a pretty cool adult.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't take on the victim mentality.
Yeah.
You saw the value in what you went through. It's
100%.
a lesson. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It destroys you or makes you.
Yep.
It's something to be learned. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
probably
you.
why you're able to like took a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really not a long time for a lot of people, but at the same time you said all these things came out. I
Oh
mean, you
yeah.
seem like you got a pretty you don't seem like you're really giving too much victim mentality, honestly.
No, I try not to, honestly. I feel like you're in charge of your own happiness. You can choose to be stuck in something, or you can choose to get out of it. Sometimes that's more easier said than done, but like I said, specifically with me, there was just there was a lot of things that I could have turned around and been like, "Oh, poor me, poor this, poor that. I deserve blah 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 X, Y, and Z." But I didn't, and I'm thankful for that. Like I said, it's not an egotistical thing. It's just I am thankful for all my trauma. I'm thankful that I was able to experience crappy things when I was younger to change the person that I am as an adult. Because I've seen a lot of things with people my age or even a little older, kind of just I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
And so I'm happy that I'm not in that place, and I hope, but I don't have people looking at me that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. When you learn chaos at a young age and you learn all these like ups and downs, I mean, empathy comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And tolerance,
I'm
pain
a huge
tolerance.
empath.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. The chaos that people have experienced at home. If you struggle alone, we want to tap into your empathy. We
Yeah.
want to get control of like we want to live that mission, try to maybe have a helping hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Let's use that empathy.
Yeah.
But
Definitely an empath, that's for sure. I feel everyone else's feelings before I feel my own sometimes.
hey, so how do you handle that?
Sometimes I don't, but when I do, I feel like that's one of my bigger purposes on this planet is being a person that can feel what other people are feeling before I feel what I'm feeling myself. Like I was talking about earlier, it's nice to be able to relate to someone and help them through that relation. And I know that with the experiences I've had, I've been able to help other people through things that maybe they weren't able to go to anyone else for.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily look at it as something I have to deal with. It's actually something I'm kind of thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You tap into that, you just gain so much in business. Emotional intelligence is significant. To be
Mm-hmm.
able to read, what the person needs
Yeah.
before they even have to speak up, like that will get you pretty far. And to be able to connect with people, there's nothing better in life.
Yeah, that's part of the human experience. I think that's one of the most valuable things that we should have in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So put yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
give it some time, be patient.
Yes.
You'll get something in return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be yourself. Really just help people without even like thinking about what you get though.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think is significant because people can read through the sounds and the character of like, sure you're helping somebody, but what are you really helping people for? Is
Yeah.
this some inner fulfillment? Is this naturally who you are, or are you looking to get something in return? You know what I mean? And people with depth will be able to pick that out, be able to hear that, see that,
Mm-hmm.
recognize that.
I agree.
So just help people because it's something that's truly you, I think, at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty solid, quite honestly.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I feel like we got the ball rolling and now we're just kind of, what do you want to touch upon?
I just think overall, with everything that we've talked about so far, it's just important to be vulnerable with your mental health. I think a lot of people are scared to do that, scared to be perceived as weak or even weird, or like, because I know that I've dealt with people in my past that they judge mental health and they're like, just get over it, whatever. Like, this person's so weird for expressing themselves. I think that's a load of crap. That's bullshit. Like, I feel like you should be able to express yourself without judging. Like, I know that I use my social media platforms as an outlet when I'm going through mental health stuff, and some people view that as like, keep your stuff offline, you don't have to whatever. But I feel like it's good for me to put it out there so that other people know, if they're going through it, that there's people that also go through it. They're not the only person that's going through a trial or tribulation. So I think, yeah, I just think it's really important to be vulnerable with your mental health. I feel like overall that's something we could take away from everything that we've talked about so far.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to add to that. So, as you mentioned, you might have some tools that other people don't have. You know what I mean? So, like when someone opens up to you, you're able to give them a different perspective.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Perspective Podcast. um, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you are really focused on healing, and you're a human who's walking through life, and you have to take a step, and then another step, and a step, and a step. You know what I mean? If your heart is truly focused on getting a solution, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna get to that solution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to say something out loud. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you need someone to sit you down and be like, yo, look at it this way.
Yeah.
You
Which
know what I
is something I definitely have learned this year.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you're really trying to find solutions, you know what I mean? Because you, not ultimately just for yourself, but like now what you learn, you're going to share with others. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to sit down with a few people
Mm-hmm.
and get some perspective from them.
Yeah.
Because one perspective, another perspective, and all could be wrong. All could be right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's a game of being secure and understanding where you want to go with your purpose.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, why are you figuring out information? Are you doing it just for yourself, or are you doing it for like a greater mission? And at that point, fucking search,
Yeah.
send it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and use it.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a good addition.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say something too. What was the next thing I was gonna say? What am I thinking? What was I thinking? Oh man. First you mentioned talking about uh the mental health and speaking up with other people. And then you said something else. What did you follow it through with?
I talked about my social media platforms.
Social media.
Yeah.
Boom. Perfect. Awesome. So you said when you're going through it sometimes, you like post on social media because that's an outlet for you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you putting out there? And what is the feeling that you get in return?
This year specifically, when I went through that whole big thing, like my big breakdown, I wanted to take a break from social media for a little bit because I felt like social media was just putting pressure on me to show the highlights of my life where I wasn't really having all of these big highlights. And so I remember when I was about to take the break on social media, I had posted a couple of back-to-back things on my story about, hey, like I'm going through this and I'm not going to be on social media. You might see me a little bit, but I'm going to be taking a step back. And that was a very vulnerable moment for me because I was suicidal. I was going through some intense stuff. And I did post about it. And for me, it's kind of funny because it was on both sides. I was very nervous, like I said, because it's a very vulnerable thing to do. So I was very nervous about the reactions I would get from people. Like I said before, there's a lot of people that'll be like, keep your stuff offline. But at the same time, going through something so deep, so dark, so vulnerable, I felt like people, like I said earlier, when people saw that, there are certain people that can relate. I had people reach out to me saying, like, thank you for posting that because I've gone through this too. Whereas I had other people just check in on me and say, like, hey, hope you're doing okay, which is, it's nice to receive from people, but also to give
Mm.
something for people.
So you use it to kind of vent
Yeah.
and articulate
Mm-hmm.
like what's on your heart and mind to see the type of feedback you get, or like,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And for the most part, you've gotten
Yeah, I'm
positive
sure
feedback.
there's always going to be a scale. So I'm sure there's people that
Oh,
would see it and be like,
but they just didn't say anything.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
But I feel like majority of the people that I heard from are people that I care about, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
It's not the other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. That's interesting. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I want to ask a question, but I also feel like maybe I shouldn't.
You can ask a question.
Like, do you think as a man, if we were to post like something like that, what type of feedback would men get?
I feel like now with men's mental health, that's actually coming up more on social media. I've seen a lot more about it and people saying, men have mental health too, which is so true and so valid. And I've always been like a spokesperson, if you will, when it comes to mental health. And I think it's very empowering. Like when I see men being vulnerable online or just in general, doesn't have to be online, but being vulnerable and kind of expressing their mental health, I think that's also very important. I don't think it's just specific to women. I feel like people are people.
So you like the expression.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the intent matters? Like, let's say, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Right. So if a guy is on social media and he's like super down in the dumps and he's just like sad story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like very sad. And he's like feeling like there's no way out.
Mm-hmm.
Is there respect in that? Or is it like more so when somebody shares this shit like, yo, whatever, this is it, whatever.
Like I said, there's a scale, so I'm sure there's going to be people that are like, whatever with this. But I feel like there's also going to be people that care. And like I said, social media is something that people use to highlight the best parts of their lives. You don't see all the other stuff. So why not also use it to be vulnerable and show those more intense moments or more down in the dumps, like you used, down in the dumps moments. I feel like it's up to the person ultimately, but in my personal opinion, I think using social media as an outlet for highlights and for the less highlighted moments
The
is
human
important.
side of life.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to be able to relate to people. It's good to be able to see that other people are having, not that it's good that people are having like a hard time with stuff, but it's good to see that you can relate to other people, like I've been saying. I feel like that's a general theme that's kind of come into play now.
Right. Right. I think as a man, it's good to understand like we're supposed to have a mission.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if we dish something out on social media, it's got to be for that purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can't just be so wandering, because I feel like from my experience, when I've been wandering and I've decided to open up to people,
Mm-hmm.
men and women alike, but also mostly women. Like throughout my life, I've had encounters. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that like partnership is not as wholesome as it used to be. When you open up, it's flaky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's more so like, look at this weakness.
Yeah.
And you're just like, damn, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just from my personal experience, I think women, not saying that, you know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes like they say something, mean something different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I just know that like with men, when they open up on shit, not on social media, but just like in general,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like the feedback isn't always the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's actually the opposite. And then it's crazy. That's why I think you have to have a mission. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to be locked in on something so much greater than anything you could ever even conceive.
Yeah, I think focusing on yourself is the most important thing you can do. You can't give to someone else or hear someone else if you can't even do that for yourself. So I think, like you said, finding your own purpose is like the most important part of all of this.
Exactly. Exactly. So with that in mind, men, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's what you got to
Same
do.
with the women, yeah.
You know what I mean? Lock in. Lock in. And you don't need anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides maybe a little bit of information here and there. How to go about doing things. But I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just talking. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm
me
just as
too.
a
It's
person.
all a learning experience for everyone. So,
I don't know shit.
same.
So you guys go figure that out. Let me know some whatever you guys find out. You know what I'm saying? I like to learn also.
Mhm.
So share that around. But ideally, I would love for the world to be exactly how you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody goes on, they're saying, "Damn, I'm going through some shit," and people are just like, "Yo," you know what I mean? And I hope that's like really what people are experiencing.
Yeah.
You know?
Me too. I feel like
That's
everyone's experiences should be respected. So,
right. So let's put that out there, and I'm really happy that you shared that perspective because
yeah.
that's what I would love to see in this world.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Excellent. Perfect. Anything else you want to talk about or vent out? There's poison. If there's poison inside, let's release that. Let's release that. Release that.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like I covered a lot with the mental health and like the specifics in my life. Is there anything that you're curious about when it comes to mental health or any of the experiences I shared?
Sure. Like, what was like the type of mental health that you were dealing with?
Bipolar and depression. I have some PTSD and anxiety in there. It's a mix of things. Um, and dealing like I look back at it and I'm like, wow, I dealt with all of those things undiagnosed, unmedicated for years and years and years, which is like it was years of my childhood. It was when I was a teenager and I was a kid and stuff. Um, and so, like I said, empowering that I was able to get through that and conquer that without the proper diagnosis, without being medicated for any of it. Um, and this year has, like I said, it's really opened up a lot for me. But being diagnosed this year, I felt more empowered than ever. It wasn't like I was diagnosed and I was like put down by it or felt defeated. I felt like, yeah, like this is me and I'm going to deal with it how I deal with it, which I think is important for everyone. Like, you, like I said, you know yourself best and you're going to deal with things how you deal with things. And like, so yeah, it's just all going back to me just feeling very empowered by myself. Just the things that I was able to do through all of those very tough years of not being diagnosed and just struggling. And now here I am, and I'm like, look at me, like, I'm doing this shit. I've always done this shit, but now, like, it's for real.
Hmm. Looks like you got some inner strength.
Yes, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Definitely feeling empowered.
Right. And I've had that in my life as well. Just always feeling like set, even if I was like going through struggles or felt like nothing. You know what I mean? Like I always felt so set,
Yeah.
and I thank God for that. I really believe that the God of the Bible, Christ, had His hand
Mm-hmm.
in my life. You know what I mean? And that's what I like dictate the inner strength from. Like I feel like it was something much more than anything I can understand.
Yeah.
So where does yours come from? Do you feel like?
Like I said earlier, I have faith in the universe. I'm a very spiritual person, so I would say my faith also plays a big role. I like I said, I do a lot of praying and I believe in manifestation, so I do a lot of manifesting for myself. And it's just it's just the belief of I have spirit guides and ancestors with me, and that, like you said, that gives me the strength. I feel like.
And you felt like that since you were young? Like you had like the
No, ironically, growing up, I was atheist. I didn't believe in anything. And that was just because of my upbringing. My dad was an atheist, my mom was Wicca, and like when you're younger, I didn't understand Wicca. I was just like, she had a broom in her room and some crystals, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, that's how I felt growing up because I didn't understand it. So I would say I was atheist until I was about 19. So, I mean, a couple of years ago, but my faith definitely like has completely reshifted and changed a lot in my life. I feel like when I was atheist, it's kind of funny. When I was an atheist, I feel like I didn't have a lot going right for me because I didn't really believe in anything. I didn't really care to educate myself on anything. And ever since I gained faith, I just feel like it's really reshaped me. It's really put me in a better place. It gives me like if I don't have people or things around me to help, I have my faith, which is just me. It's my core beliefs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I feel the exact same way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's a time in my life I wasn't as close to the Most High, and I still need to get closer. You know what I mean? There's parts of the Word that I'm unfamiliar with, and
Mm-hmm.
He is the Word.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel the exact same way. It's just an amount of love I could never even conceive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Best thing I've ever done was be receptive to the Bible.
I agree. Finding my faith has definitely changed a lot for me.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Even though we have contrasting opinions, I still, thank you, and I love like everything that you shared. I think there's a lot that I understand, resonate with, and I hope that there's some people out there watching the show who can get something out of this.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same.
And I really appreciate you just coming on the show and being vulnerable and sharing a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you for having me.
you know what I mean? Like this is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And life is very complex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like we touched up on a lot, and this is our first time meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we've never met before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want to like pry too much. You know what I mean? Like you've already shared a good amount of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but again, life is humans, complex, whatever. Part two, if you ever want to come on the show and we want to explore some things that we didn't touch up on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I want this to be like a therapy session, not, you know what I mean, to an
Yeah.
extent, but I also really want us to, because like I've heard of something, a meme online, mad funny, people go up to psychologists and it's just like, yo, how many people have you cured? And they're just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just blank. So, if we can actually help people so that they can live their life with, you know what I mean, feeling secure, feeling grounded, and maybe even getting a community of people who, you know, are just with it. That's what this is about.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you again for coming and taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Told you I can yap.
No, this is good. No, this is good. I don't know. Like there's just like so many questions that I like we could go about going and talking about. I just yeah, I feel like maybe it'd be best to do like a part two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now that I have like a little bit more of understanding,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? We can like, cause I like to keep these conversations free flowing.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I like this stuff to be.
Yeah.
I don't like to script it. I mean, at least not on the first one.
Yeah. Just whatever comes naturally.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So like you gave me a lot of food for thought to like potentially just like go and be like, okay, well, let's talk about this. How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can kind of take it from there and kind of, do part two.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And anybody who's tuning in, remember to subscribe. We're going to put some links to her socials, our socials down below. Make sure you follow along. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Boom. You feel so...
Boom.
I feel like there's something you want to say, but you're not.
I don't know. I like to be asked the questions because I have a lot to say in response to the questions. But when it comes to just free flow, I kind of go blank, I feel like.
You do?
Yeah.
So, like, what would you have liked me to prepare?
I don't know if today was supposed to be specific to mental health, but whatever it is we're talking about, I feel like if there's a range of questions or just even going based off of the things I'm talking about in the moment, if, like I said, if there's questions, I usually have a detailed response to go with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Some people are terrified to just like explore themselves or just like talk about shit.
Oh no, I love to talk.
Yeah, that's fucking sick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're not scared. You're not. You know what I mean? You doesn't. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No
Nothing's
fear.
holding you back. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then, what do you experience like when you're going through like these stages of like this mental health? Like, what is like? What does that feel like? What does that like look like?
In the moment, it's kind of terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like I said, this year was probably the most impactful, the most intense. And so when I was going through that stuff, I almost kind of felt like I don't know if I'm going to make it through the other side. It was, like I said, I was suicidal, so there was that aspect of it. But even mentally, I'm like, if I do make it through this, how is this going to change me as a person? Am I going to be less faithful? Am I going to just look at every experience as like it could be a doomed experience, if you will. I don't know what the correct terminology to use is, but it's kind of just ups and downs, because there was moments where I had the total opposite reaction to things, and it was like look at this shit that I just handled. Like, that was really intense and I did it. And now that's going to shape me into an even better person, an even more educated person when it comes to mental health. And when I look back in my past, it's the same thing. There was like some deep traumas I went through as a child, and I didn't know if I was going to make it through those. So I feel like when we were talking about pain as like a learning experience, it's kind of the same with mental health. For me specifically, my mental health experiences, it was always kind of a shift. Like, some days I was like, okay, I got this, and some days it was like, I don't got this. But like we were saying, I think that's all part of the experience.
What's like, do you have like different, like, do you feel like you're a different person? Like, is it like different thoughts that come through? Different, like, what's the emotion? Like, what makes it like a flip of a switch and it's just like now it's difficult? Like, what's going on in your body, your mind, your heart? Like, what's happening?
I feel like the bipolar definitely contributes to all of this. For me specifically, people that deal with different mental health stuff might have different mental health experiences. But mine, obviously, I have like drastic mood shifts. So before I was medicated and before I was getting the help that I really needed, I was having these mood shifts. And so when I was down, like I was saying way in the beginning, really down, like bedbound, like, oh, life's not going to get any better for me. This shit sucks. This is not worth living. And then when I was in my high states of mind, it was like, I'm going to conquer the world because I've conquered all this bullshit. And so I just feel like in the heart, it's hard to describe almost, because the emotions are intense and they fluctuate intensely. So,
Hmm.
like I said, I think it's specific to everyone individually.
Right.
Yeah.
My first, as someone outside who's just like questioning, I'm like, is it like, do you think is like like you mentioned like all this chaos that happened in your past, right? And you were mentioning that you were like overcompensating for like being yourself or like expressing yourself. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like trying too much to not ask for help, just do everything on your own
Yeah.
and all that other good stuff. Do you feel like it's just like like you're like, so when we go through our situations, right? It puts dark thoughts. It puts us like in what we have to be
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what we truly are. You know what I mean? So do you feel like you try to, was it like a, is it like a pushing of who we had to be down and then that person just kind of like comes up? Is it like,
I feel like it was a burnout for me specifically. It was just like I had been trying to be this specific person for so long, and that specific person was someone that could handle everything on my own. I didn't need any help. I got this shit. To the point where I'm 25 now, and I've said I was dealing with it since the time I was like 10 or 11. I was truly burned out. I was like, I actually can't do this all on my own anymore. It took a lot of trauma. It took a lot of intense crap chaos,
mm,
for me to realize in order for me to actually be my true authentic self, I needed help. I couldn't just do it on my own. And I think that goes for everyone. I think we all need a little bit of help sometimes or a little bit of guidance.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's pretty solid. Like I've never been diagnosed and I don't know. I've definitely had my moments where I'm like, yo, like, sometimes you forget how much you've done in your life. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And sometimes it's easy to be like, yo, I haven't done enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why even like right there, I read this book with David Goggins, if you're familiar. Basically he mentioned like writing down things that you accomplished because it's very easy to forget about the things you've accomplished. Like I'm just looking at my life, like there's so much that I've done. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I'm like so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like sometimes I just like my mind wipes and it's just like I feel like I haven't done anything.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes the negative experiences impact the way that we look at everything as a whole. And I know because I can definitely relate to that. Where I've been in this state of mind where I'm like in a blur, almost in a haze of like, I haven't done shit. I haven't reached my dreams yet. I haven't accomplished all the things I want to accomplish. But when I look back at my life, there are so many like big things that I've done for myself, for other people, just in general. Um, that are, it's like really cool shit. It's like, wow, you did that.
100%.
so I feel like I said, in a negative mindset, it's easy for us to forget about
Right.
that kind of stuff.
And I feel like it's like some people are just blessed to never have to experience these types of things, because when you grow up in chaos or you grow up around people telling you that you are a certain way, you know what I mean? Like it creates a duality inside of you sometimes. Like sometimes, like especially as a kid, you're so influential. You learn from how you grow up. You know what I mean? That creates your discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It creates like what you do when things are good, when they're bad. Like it does. It has an impact. Things live inside of your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what was I saying? I forgot.
Duality. Duality.
Duality.
Yeah.
Duality. Right. So sometimes you believe, like as a kid when we're impressionable, if someone's telling you ain't shit, you start to kind of like
Believe that. Yeah.
take on the idea that you ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you have to like work through this idea, like being like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what is this person talking about? How
Mm-hmm.
dare they try to come in my life and tell me what I am?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, sometimes you have to work through the thoughts, the impressions that other people try to put on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that. I feel like that's for me. That's how I experienced it. It was
Yeah,
like,
I agree. I went through the same thing, I feel like.
yeah. So it's like, and I feel like Gary V. Gary V. Has like a nice little quote. It's like, basically what I just said. Like, realize if someone's telling you like you're not good enough or all this other bullshit or whatever the heck, you don't have to look it up on your own. But realize those aren't your thoughts.
Yeah.
Those are some ideas that someone else tried to put on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And for me, that's been a helpful way of framing things.
Mm-hmm.
Because for my circumstance, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've had that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But God is good. God
Mm-hmm.
is so good, honestly. I really feel pretty solid about that framing and that type of, the information that's come into my life. So if that helps you guys, and it's along your path and you come across this video for whatever reason, you made it this far,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're in a clip
Yeah.
or whatever it is, but so I know like maybe writing some things down and like things that you've accomplished and keep it in a place where it's easy to read. Again, this is where I got from David Goggins in a book. It's
Mm-hmm.
called, what is it called? Like Never Quit or something. I forgot what it's called. Like, I forgot what it's called, but write it down, keep it easy. And you're just like, oh shit. Yeah. The
Yeah,
fuck I
writing is
got.
powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Write it down and it will come true.
Mm-hmm.
Write it plainly. Write it down plainly. It'll come true.
Yeah, I actually do this thing called writing and burning too. It goes both ways. I'll write down like my manifestations, but also if I'm going through like some heavy shit, I'll write it down and then I'll burn it, and it's like almost a sense of relief, like I'm letting go of something. I feel like writing is a really powerful thing.
Yeah, it is. And like that's why it's like also like we're talking, it lets the poison out. Sometimes you just like instead of keeping it internalized, you release it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like blah 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 done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously to an extent.
Yeah.
You know
Of
what I mean?
course. Yeah.
But that's why I feel good about the podcast, because I think it gives sometimes some people some space, you know what I mean, to talk about something, because maybe they have an environment where they grew up in, and every time they try to speak out, everything was twisted. They were just felt like, they weren't worth having an ear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I think everyone deserves everyone deserves love.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
We all deserve respect, love, all of it.
100%. 100%. Boom.
Boom.
I feel like that's a great place to end the episode. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep that other part where we said, comment and subscribe, because it's so authentic and real, because we put up on it afterwards.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna end the show. Same thing,
All right.
guys. I'm gonna put the socials down below. Follow along if you want to learn more and stay in touch with the podcast and with G. And again, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Boom.